My life story could be called Cinderella and her search for the princely male. Only it's not just a prince that this Cinderella has been looking for. A lot of my life's quest has been about the search for confidence. And I really resonated with the story of Cinderella as a little girl because it mirrored a lot of what was happening in my life. I grew up in very rural New Brunswick in a low-income family. So I went to school in secondhand clothes. I had 3 pairs of pants my first year of school. I rotated them so people wouldn't know I wore the same pair of pants twice. And my mom had 4 kids in the span of 5 years, which any parent knows is a lot. So I suspect she was a little overwhelmed. She had given up her teaching career in order to stay home with her kids, which is what you were supposed to do back in those days as a woman. She also had a hysterectomy, so she had to go through those premenopausal symptoms that are so much fun, and her mother died at the same time. So I suspect my mom was probably depressed for a good part of my childhood. So she did the things that moms are supposed to do. She fed us, she clothed us, she cleaned the house, she sent us off to school, but she didn't have a lot of gas left in the tank to meet our emotional needs. So I don't have any memories of my mom playing with me, hugging me, kissing me, saying I love you. I actually don't have a single memory of one compliment from my mother ever in my lifetime. I do have memories of her slamming cupboard doors, yelling at us, calling us names, slapping me if I said the wrong thing at the wrong time, and pushing me away when I tried to hug her. So on top of feeling like my own mother didn't love me, my 3 siblings ganged up on me. I was the sensitive one in the family, so they would tease me and taunt me and throw things at me and play the let's make Karen cry game to see if they could get me to cry, or yell out in frustration, and then my mom would run in and get mad at me, and they'd laugh thinking it was a fun game. Only it wasn't a very fun game for me. So I'd get off the school bus every day and walk home, and I would dread going home because I was afraid. And so, I grew up feeling like if my own family doesn't like me, there must be something really wrong with me, and if they don't love me, who will? So when I left home at 17 to go to university, I really had no self-esteem. So that was really when my quest for confidence began. And at that point, I still thought that confidence is something you get outside of yourself. It's something you get from the external validation of others. So I became an overachiever, and I got straight A's in school and worked really hard to have my teachers approve of me, only that's really exhausting, and I burned myself out doing it. And I became a people pleaser and an overgiver to do everything I could to make sure everybody liked me. But that's exhausting too, because it's impossible to have everyone like you. And then I put a lot of time and energy into my romantic relationships and looking for that Prince Charming, thinking, if I find a guy who loves me, that'll be proof I'm lovable. And then I can love myself. And I found my prince. I found him at 19, almost just about to turn 20, and his name was Blair. And it was an amazing relationship. I felt completely, unconditionally loved. I could see when I looked in his eyes that he loved me. I could hear it in his voice when he talked about me with pride to other people. And I could certainly feel it in the way he treated me. So after about 2 years together, he proposed to me. And the same month he proposed, we found out he was dying of liver cancer. We decided to get married anyway to honor our love for each other, and 6 weeks after our wedding, he died. So I learned a really valuable lesson about finding my confidence in the validation or the love of others, because you can't guarantee they're going to be with you forever, and you also can't guarantee you're going to keep someone's approval either. So when he died, I really lost my source of confidence, and the rug came out from underneath me, and I became depressed. So I really tried to pick up the pieces, and I decided to move to Ottawa. That's how I ended up here to do a master's in journalism at Carleton. And I finished my degree and got a great job out of university. I started making new friends. I met my second husband, and we got married and had 2 beautiful children, and bought a home, and I climbed the ladder of success. And to the outside world, it really looked like I had everything. I mean, from my parents' perspective, I had everything that you would need to be successful and to feel happy. Only I didn't feel happy. I had a roommate instead of a husband, and I had a job that paid well, but I didn't feel like I was contributing to the world, like I was making a difference. So around that time, I went to a Power Within seminar that was here in Ottawa. It was a full-day seminar, and Deepak Chopra was the headliner. And I remember getting shivers down my arm when Deepak said, "You can change your external world by changing the internal thoughts you have, by changing how you feel about yourself and about your life." And I realized then that the true, real source of confidence comes from the inside. And so I decided to start changing my internal talk and changing all those negative messages that I had been given as a child. And I started becoming my own friend. And anyone who knows me knows I have sticky notes all over my house with affirmations on them. And I also started taking bold action. So I ended the marriage that wasn't working after 8 years of counseling. And I left the job that wasn't fulfilling. And I started a new home with my kids, and I started a new business, and I made new friends. And my life started to change, and it started to get better and better and better. And I don't know if you've read the book by Susan Jeffers called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And she talks about how the way to overcome fear isn't to wait for it to go away, because fear never goes away. The way to work through fear is to move through it, and to just one step at a time move through your fear and try things, because you'll learn one of two things. You will either succeed, and that will give you the confidence to take more risks, or you'll fail and you'll realize failure isn't the end of the world. It's just a message that you need to change something and do something different. So about 2 years ago, I hit a little bit of a low patch in my life. I had a series of really difficult circumstances happen in the period of 6 short months. I had a big cycling accident where I literally landed on my face biking down full speed down a hill, and I had scarring all over my body and my face and a concussion, and I had to take time off work. And as a single self-employed person with no disability, EI, or partner, that was pretty scary. I broke up with my boyfriend at the time. My best friend and I had a falling out after 15 years of never fighting. My contract got canceled, so I had 3 months where I had no income. And with $100 left in my bank account and no idea how I was going to pay the bills the next month, my mother died. She had Alzheimer's for 7 years. And I could barely afford the plane ride home for her funeral. So I came back home, and that much stress in the 6-month period caused my hormones to give out, my adrenals to burn out, and it wasn't a very good time for me. And I realized I really needed to do something to regroup. So I just started getting back to basics and going out in nature and meditating. And I realized I needed to, I had lost faith that the universe was going to work out in my favor and that it was friendly. And I knew I needed to reestablish that connection. So I started thinking about the challenges I'd had in my life. And I mean, really, I'd faced a lot of the things that we're all afraid of. I had been bullied growing up. I lost a husband to cancer. I got divorced. I lost my source of income. I temporarily lost my health, and then I lost my mom. And the interesting thing is, while I would never wish for any of those things to happen again, I grew stronger through every single one of them. And I learned things about myself, and I became a better person. And I realized, too, that every single time, the universe showed up for me in some way, either through old friends who came in to support me, new friends who came out of the blue to do things for me that I was eternally grateful for, or just money that showed up out of the blue. There was always something that happened to help me get through those times. So I realized that in addition to feeling good about myself and gaining that confidence on the inside, I could also tap into that universal source of confidence. So if I could leave you with a message tonight, it's this. It's that no matter how your life started out, how many crappy things anyone has ever said to you, or what difficult circumstances you might be facing now, when you learn to trust in yourself and you learn to trust in your source, whatever you call that, you'll become truly unstoppable, and no one can ever take that away from you. So, in case you're wondering whether this Cinderella found her princely mail yet, no, I'm still looking. Only I don't, the good thing is I don't expect him to come and rescue me from my life anymore. I mean, I don't even expect him to have a white horse anymore. And I also don't think I had to fit into a certain shoe size to get him either. I definitely still want a great life partner to share life's adventures with, only I don't need him to make me happy or to make me feel confident, because I've learned to do that for myself. Thank you.